Second and final race here at Kirkistown for the Fiesta Zetec Championship. Tom, you were second in race one. What can you do to get past Johnny this race?
I don't really know. I think I'm in the wrong gear ratio here today, so I'm struggling for straight line speed. So had a bit of bother as well in the first race with tyres going off towards the end. So hopefully we'll get something sorted here.
Yeah, the temperature's dropped. The track temperature's going to be lower, so the tyres should last a bit longer.
Yeah, let's hope they do. Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
And with that, I'll hand over to our race commentator, Scott Woodwis.
Thanks, Anthony. And after a very intriguing first race, what can race 2 bring us this time? The grid should be Johnny Forsyth and Daniel Conlon, then Mark Stewart and Stuart Agnew ahead of Ricky Hull and Aaron O'Neill, then Roy Smith and Paul Stewart on row 4, then row 5 should be Desi McGlade and Conor Mulholland with Craig Brown and Thomas Agnew on the 6th row of the grid. I say should be because if we look at the front row of the grid, it actually shows us that we have Mark Stewart on the front row of the grid. Paul Stewart is actually in 3rd place. So we'll wait and see how these cars get away in a few moments' time then. Up towards the lights with the 5-second board, and the second race of the weekend at Kirkistown for the Kirkistown Ford Fiesta Zetec Cup is underway. Good start from everyone so far. Good start from Stuart Agnew. He's now going toe-to-toe with Thomas Agnew in front of him. Side by side with Mark Stewart down towards the left-hander at Debtors Dip. Paul Stewart in the mix as well. Stuart Agnew going to make it 3 abreast behind Mark Stewart. But it's Johnny Forsyth that still leads, Mark Stewart in 2nd place, but it's Paul Stewart on the inside, Tom Agnew in the middle, Stuart Agnew on the outside, and Paul Stewart wins the race for 3rd place into Colonial. Stuart Agnew also elbows Tom out of the way, so he won't really appreciate that one. But into Fisherman for the first time, and it is once again championship leader and race 1 winner Johnny Forsyth who continues the advantage. But in this early stage of the first lap, Mark Stewart is trying to go with him here already as they come up towards the John Crosley chicane for the first time. There's number 13, that is Craig Brown at the back of the field. In the mix as they head out of the chicane, down the back straight for the first time. You can see the silver car of Stuart Agnew moving out to defend from Paul Stewart. Mark Stewart, meanwhile, also putting himself in Johnny Forsyth's mirrors as the fight for 3rd place intensifies. Paul Stewart looking this way and that to make a move, darts out to the inside as they head up towards the hairpin. Forsyth remains there, Stuart Agnew still in 4th place. Out of the hairpin for the first time, Forsyth, then Stewart, Agnew, Stewart and then Agnew, and then Dan Conlon and Aaron O'Neill in 8th place. Across the line they go to end the first lap all together. Down towards Debtors Dip for the 2nd time. And Johnny Forsyth would dearly love to extend his championship advantage with a 2nd win at the weekend. Down towards Colonial. Side by side again as Paul Stewart looks up the inside to try and make a pass on Stuart Agnew. And look at also Dan Conlon and Aaron O'Neill having a fantastic opening lap. He was in a fight in the first race with Roy Smith and also Ricky Hull, but really stuck in here at the back of this train of cars battling over 4th down to 7th place because Stuart Agnew just ahead in the silver 222 is in 3rd. So Paul Stewart actually getting further than he did in the first race because of course right here on the pit straight as he bounces over the curbs on the exit of the chicane, he was sideways in the middle of the track and somehow everyone avoided him. That was certainly a very scary moment, and the white car with the blue stripes down the bonnet is holding on with Thomas Agnew moving out to try and make a move for 4th position into the hairpin, under brakes. Dan Conlon closes in, as does also Tom Agnew, who turns Paul Stewart on his rear corner. But somehow Paul Stewart holds on. I'm sure he'll be gesticulating in his rearview mirror. What on earth are you playing at, Tom? Just letting him know he's there, because now Dan Conlon trying to go side by side with Aaron O'Neill. So only a couple of laps in, and this 2nd race of the weekend for the Fiesta Zetec Cup here at Kirkistown is just as exciting as the entire first encounter. So now Johnny Forsyth leading, but he's not being allowed to get away too much as Paul Stewart continues to hold the advantage as there goes Aaron O'Neill up the inside of Dan Conlon, and it's turn to take to the grass. 2 cars did that in race 1. Now Dan Conlon joins the Rallycross Club at Kirkistown. Into Fisherman's for the 3rd time of asking. Paul Stewart holding the apex on the exit, but Thomas Agnew's not done yet. He's going to try and put himself alongside, and he's so close he could almost go through Paul Stewart's car if he's not careful. Bouncing over the curbs, Tom Agnew getting up on 2 wheels. You can tell he's not determined, can't you? Stuart Agnew watching the battle for the lead happening here as Johnny Forsyth is being kept a lot more honest in this encounter than he was in race 1, because Mark Stewart is not letting him get away, and neither is Stuart Agnew. Agnew closing back in again. He was pretty close in this first part of the race in race 1, but looks as though race 2 he's got another chance of redemption. He did fall away from the battle for second place in the closing stages, so this time it looks as though his car's performing pretty well in these beautifully sunny conditions. Few wisps of cloud in the air. It looks to be pretty perfect conditions for racing here at Kirkistown. Flat out through Debtors Dip in the sunshine. And the top 3 all trying to hold their positions. Here comes Stuart Agnew thinking about a move for second place into Colonial. But Stuart almost runs wide. Goes a little bit over the curb. Loses a tiny bit of momentum. And Stuart Agnew surely has to pounce and take full advantage if he gets an opportunity. Into the right-hander at the top of the circuit at Fisherman's. It's only a 1.5 mile circuit here at Kirkistown, but the length of the circuit doesn't matter. It's a very simple but very fun circuit to drive, and you can see the level of racing it's produced. We've had Formula Ford racing here in both the National Championship and the Northern Irish Championship, and both have been superb in equal measure. We've also had the Sports and Saloon Car Championship here this weekend, so a full calendar of racing taking place here. And this is just one incredible part of it. Now Johnny Forsyth trying to extend his advantage once again. Battle of a second is on, but look back, because that's Aaron O'Neill trying to go up the inside of Tom Agnew and of both Paul Stewart. Out of the hairpin, that's the battle of a second place as Stuart Agnew goes through, but it's action stations for 4th, and O'Neill's going for 4th position. An incredible sequence of corners in the last couple of laps has seen Aaron O'Neill charge up the order. He's gone past Thomas Agnew, now side by side with Paul Stewart to his outside through Debtors Dip. There's our top 3 of Forsyth, Stewart and Agnew, but for 4th it's anyone's guess. Paul Stewart on the inside, Aaron O'Neill on the outside, Tom Agnew and Dan Conlon watching on. Into the right-hander at the apex, and Ricky Hull's getting involved as well. Look, at the back of that train, the white and orange car, that's Ricky Hull in there too. Up towards Fisherman's again. What a battle this is producing here. For only 4th position, but it doesn't matter. This championship is brilliant in that you've always got somebody to race with, and it's always a fantastic battle from start to finish. Down towards the chicane again. Aaron O'Neill is really getting his elbows out here, but so is Thomas Agnew, and so is Dan Conlon. They're all over the curbs again as they head out onto the back straight once more. So the 3 cars to the right of your screen, that is Forsyth, Mark Stewart and Stuart Agnew, but the battle you've got to watch is there, led by the white and blue car of Mark Stewart, with Aaron O'Neill to his outside. Back down to the hairpin again, Conlon looks to the outside of Tom Agnew, side by side for 4th, as Mark Stewart covers the line off, then has to quickly get back to the inside to defend the line from Tom Agnew. This is superb racing for the Kirkistown Fiesta Zetec Cup. Look at this. Top 3 spreading out, but it's anything but for 4th. Look at this. O'Neill's got his nose in front. He's got the inside line for Debtors Dip. They come back into view. What's the result of that pass for 4th? It's still Mark Stewart in the lead. Or Paul, I should say, rather. Tom Agnew with 2 wheels on the grass as he goes up the inside. It is 3 abreast into Colonial. Paul Stewart in the middle. O'Neill on the outside. And Agnew sees them both off. Incredible. From 6th to 4th in one move. But it's not over yet. Now also look at Ricky Hull in the mix. And Dan Conlon in there too. This is a superb battle. And now Tom Agnew takes 4th position. What a sequence of corners that was. 3 abreast into Colonials, and Tom Agnew takes 2 places in the space of 1 corner. This has to be Tom Agnew fired up after his race 1 disqualification. So fired up he's going off the circuit. What a sensational battle, and it's not over yet. We've still got plenty of time left in this second race of the weekend. Top 3 must be looking behind them thinking, what on earth is going on? And the answer to that is it's a superb battle. Down towards the hairpin. Agnew giving a bit of a shove from Paul Stewart. Really big shove from Paul Stewart. Agnew gets shoved out wide by Paul Stewart. They both go too deep. And Dan Conlon says, thank you very much. I'll pass all of you. Unbelievable racing in the Zetec Cup. This is absolutely superb. All together once more. Across the line. Line astern. But it's Dan Conlon now in 4th place. I'm pretty sure no one betted on that by the end of the lap. Top 3 looking pretty pedestrian at the moment in the race of their own, but Paul Stewart's not done yet. He's not going to let Dan Conlon get away too quickly. Back into Colonial. Conlon. Then it's going to be Paul Stewart. He's gone over the curbs, up on 2 wheels. Tom Agnew now in 6th position, ahead of Aaron O'Neill, and then it's Ricky Hull. Back into Fisherman's again. It is a 7-car train from 4th all the way down to 10th position. So, into the chicane once again. There's Aaron O'Neill ahead of Ricky Hull, turning their way out of the John Crossley chicane. And what antics are we going to get down towards the hairpin this time? Well, nothing changing between the top three, but I can't say the same is going to be guaranteed for the battle for fourth. Conlon has to go to the inside because he knows that Paul Stewart will try and go there if he can, and he's inviting him up the inside. Paul Stewart with a big lunge up the inside into the hairpin. I think there's a tiny bit of contact. Conlon on the outside. Stewart then goes back towards the inside to the middle of the track to try and defend from a charging Tom Agnew, who now has Aaron O'Neill coming up alongside him. It is 2x2 hurrah down the pit straight. There's a black and white flag going out for two drivers, I think. I can't see which ones they are, unfortunately. But what a superb race, as now Mark Stewart is pulling away from Stuart Agnew. But it's all action here. This is what we have to watch. We cannot take our eyes away from the battle for fourth place into Colonial. And it's now Paul Stewart back into fourth place again. Conlon goes wide on the outside. He goes grass tracking again for the second time this weekend. Now they come back towards Fisherman's, and Tom Agnew's in the mix. He hits Paul Stewart. That's revenge for the hairpin, he says. Oh, and he's turned him around. Contact between Agnew and Paul Stewart. That's the second time he's been sideways. Incredible. I can't help but feeling maybe that was a slight bit of revenge for what happened at the hairpin. But Paul Stewart, who's having such a fantastic race, has been shoved out of race 2, and that is his race over. Well, not quite. You can see right in the background the white car getting back onto the circuit with it all to do again. So Paul Stewart will leave Kirkistown with not the points he was hoping for, and not the results he was hoping for either. He'll be absolutely livid. Well, as a result of all of that, this is Ricky Hunt going up the inside of Dan Conlon. And I think Tom Agnew is struggling because I think that contact has caused some damage. Because one of the other cars in the mix has also gone past him too. So after all that, we can breathe for a moment, and now we can look back at the top two, because Johnny Forsyth is not being allowed to get away. Mark Stewart's got much better pace in this second race, and he's holding on to the position here in the lead ahead of Mark Stewart. This is a battle here. This is now Tom Agnew battling away with the silver car number 44. That is Desi McGlade that's been in the fight. He's been at the back of that 6-car train for practically the entire race up until that point. And now we come to the scene of the accident through Fisherman's, which is where Thomas Agnew turned around Paul Stewart. As we see Ricky Hunt ahead of Dan Conlon. What an extraordinary race, but in a positive way. It's been a superb spectacle, and we've still got plenty of time left for some things to develop. So through the chicane once again, and it's all spread out a little bit more now for fourth. It's now Aaron O'Neill in fourth position. Ricky Hull is defending fifth, as the leaders are now nose to tail. And Johnny Forsyth cannot relax for a second, because look at the pace that Mark Stewart has. Mark Stewart is getting his elbows out and has got his foot down, and is really giving Johnny Forsyth the hurry up here. The reigning champion and points leader. This is not an easy race for him. I can't imagine any race is, but he has not got a lead gap here. The gap is virtually zero. They come through Des's Dip, down the short straight towards Colonials. Mark Stewart will close again under brakes, a little bit bumpy into the braking zone, turning through the complex at Colonials. And Stewart here looking particularly racy. He's found some form between races, and now looking possibly to make a move. And great run through Fisherman's. This could be a real opportunity here. Johnny Forsyth may not have it easy here. Up towards the chicane again. Nose to tail, Forsyth and Stewart hopping over the curbs and onto the back straights again. Now Stewart will try and close up in the slipstream, but I can't see that he's going to try and get through anytime soon. They've gone past one of the back markers. No, so that's Stuart Agnew in third place. My apologies. But for fourth, it's happening again, because Aaron O'Neill, look in the background. They're at it again, because now we've seen Ricky Hull is giving him what for, as is also Dan Conlon. But we keep on looking at our leaders, Forsyth and Stewart together. And you have to wonder, is Mark Stewart just biding his time here, or does ultimately Johnny Forsyth have enough? And the black flag is being shown to somebody here. Now, I can't quite see who that is. I'll have a look and see possibly if I'm getting any notes here. And it's Tom Agnew again. So Thomas Agnew, for the second race in a row, is being disqualified. And I can't help but feeling that was possibly for the contact he made with Paul Stewart. So as a result of the contact there, Tom Agnew will leave this weekend with 0 points. And that is a real blow to his championship aspirations, I have to say. But the evidence is fairly clear-cut, and he did turn around Paul Stewart and that was avoidable contact, I feel. Leaders, meanwhile, have managed to avoid making any sort of contact. Very clean, hard-fought racing at the front, and Johnny McGlade is driving as if a championship is at stake, and it pretty much is, but Mark Stewart is not letting him get away one single moment. And the top two have pulled away from that silver car there. Stuart Agnew in third place, who I think will be very happy with the podium if he can keep it here. Down towards the hairpin. Wanted the fight for fourth. As we come back to our leaders again. And Mark Stewart, he can close under braking. He's got a pretty good exit from the hairpin. And he's going to try again as they come down the pit straight. And the black flag is going out again to Tom Agnew. So it looks as though he hasn't seen it the first time. Hopefully he will the second time. Top two go past the pits. Here past comes Stuart Agnew. And he's got to realise it's not for him because, of course, he's the treble two. There's only two number twos on that board. So he can't think it's for him. It has to be for Thomas. As they come down towards Colonial again. Fairly clear view, but the top two are practically out of sight already. And there they are just in the distance. And here they are up at Fisherman's once again. Now, Johnny Forsyth, I should say, is holding on to his advantage pretty well so far. Mark Stewart is just keeping him very, very honest indeed. Much more honest than he was being kept in race one. And look at Mark Stewart. 2 wheels over the curbs. I think you can clearly tell that he is definitely pushing. There's no evidence to suggest that he is giving it everything. And giving it everything also has to be that fight for fourth. Look behind us. Mark Stewart is moving out here. And Forsyth, for the first time, has to go defensive. Stewart looks to the outside, but he's not far enough alongside to make a move here. Now, can he get the cut back on the exit? We're running out of laps here at Kirkistown in race 2. Stewart now tries to put himself alongside. He'll go alongside the pit wall. And the last lap board goes out. So one final opportunity for the top two as they flush past the line. One more tour of the 1.5 mile circuit to go here at Kirkistown. It'll either be Johnny Forsyth making it 2 from 2, or can Mark Stewart snatch a last-minute victory? Here's the fight for fourth. It's O'Neill from Conlon, then from Hull, and then from the disqualified Tom Agnew, who hasn't seen the black flag yet. He should have come into the pit lane, but he's choosing to carry on. Leaders up towards the John Crosley chicane for the final time. Forsyth is holding on, but Mark Stewart surely has got one more opportunity into the hairpin for the last time. The run off the corner's good, the momentum's good, but is the pass going to be good if he can make it? Forsyth is in the middle of the road having to try and defend. Which way will he go? Is he going to try and pull out to make a move? He goes to the inside. Is it going to be a last-ditch move under brakes for the hairpin? But I think Stewart's run out of time. He darts back in. He's going to lose time and momentum. So, out of the hairpin for the final time. Mark Stewart will press him all the way, but it's going to be too late. And Johnny Forsyth makes it 2 from 2 at Kirkistown. A fantastic race weekend, but he's been pressed all the way. It's a drag race to the line. Forsyth wins. Mark Stewart second place. And Stuart Agnew comes home a very, very distant third. But even so, it's an important result for him nonetheless. Charge for fourth to the line, and Aaron O'Neill will make a fantastic fourth place, and a charge for fifth is won by Ricky Hull and then Dan Conlon in sixth. Here's the final result. Mark Stewart, second place to Johnny Forsyth, the overall winner, for Stuart Agnew third, and Aaron O'Neill, Ricky Hull, Dan Conlon, Desi McGlade, Craig Brown and Conor Mulholland, and then Paul Stewart 10th, but of course Tom Agnew unfortunately disqualified for the second time. Epic racing in the Fiesta Cup here at Kirkistown, an amazing race. And here comes Anthony with the top 3 on the podium.
Well, Johnny, you are extending your championship lead. What a cracking day racing.
Yeah, it was a good day, very successful points haul for the championship. Had a good race there with Mark. He kept me on my toes there throughout the whole race.
How difficult is it keeping him behind? You've got to concentrate on where you're going, but you've also got to concentrate on your mirrors.
Yeah, you sort of have to watch in 2 ways at the one time, so yeah, he had work cut out for me, so yeah, it was good fun.
Mark, what a cracking race, very close at the top, but second place, well done.
Yeah, no, I'm over the moon with second. It was very tight at the front there in 1 and 2. Didn't quite have the legs to get round Johnny, but no, I'm over the moon with second.
And it's been a fantastic weekend's racing here at Kirkistown. What's your highlights?
No, it's been really good. I haven't had a great start this season. I've had 3 non-finishes, so I'm trying to work my way back up the table, so getting a P2 and P3, I'm more than happy with that, and the day's been great and the weather and everything, so it's been real close racing as usual.
Pretty good day at the office here at Kirkistown.
Yeah, not bad. Could have done a bit better, but lost a bit of track time down to the back chicane. ended up going onto the grass and missing out and letting them boys away there for first and second. So had to stick for third place.